This is what really happened in Australia, isn't it, Miss Heard?
I did knock on a bathroom door on the first night.
Not a bathroom door, 5 bathroom doors and 2 bedrooms.
Johnny
right?
is not an accurate historian of what happened during
Miss Heard,
that
Miss
period
Heard,
of time. I'll guarantee
Miss
you
Heard,
that.
that's not my question. 5 bathroom doors, 2 bedrooms. That's what you knocked on. That's what actually happened in Australia, isn't it, Miss Heard?
I was there.
So it's a
I
no?
remember it. I knocked on one bathroom door. I came on the first night after he decided to take the bag of MDMA.
The recording we just listened to, that's exactly what happened in Australia. Mr. Depp lost the tip of his finger after you threw a bottle at him. Isn't that right?
That is incorrect.
You're the one who assaulted someone with a bottle in Australia. Isn't that right, Miss Heard?
I didn't assault Johnny in Australia. I didn't assault Johnny ever. I couldn't.
And then after he was injured, he had to hide from you, right?
That is incorrect.
5 bathrooms, 2 bedrooms.
That is incorrect.
And you would pursue him.
That is incorrect.
Because he was avoiding talking to you, right?
He did that first night when
he was
I tried to talk to him about the drugs.
And he was avoiding working it out.
No, he was avoiding agreeing to not fight about the drugs.
You weren't scared of him at all, were you?
I have a mixed relationship with Johnny, and one in which I'm scared, one in which I love him very much.
I'm not talking about your mixed relationship. That night in Australia, after you cut off his finger with a bottle, you weren't scared of him at all, were you?
This is a man who tried to kill me. Of course it's scary. He's also my husband.
Do you recognize these text messages between you and Dr. Cowan?
I don't recognize these, no.
Who's Dr. Cowan?
He was my therapist that was recommended to me from Dr. Kipper. He and Dr. Kipper worked together.
He was your therapist at the time, correct?
That's correct.
And you had been seeing him for almost a year in March of 2015?
My guess would be about 6 months.
And you write to Dr. Cowan, quote, "I feel so lost. I can't talk. I don't know if I'll ever be able to change." You weren't able to change, were you, Miss Heard?
I very much wanted to leave the relationship I was in, but I didn't have the power. I didn't feel I had the power to leave. I knew I was in a very toxic relationship with Johnny, and I knew I needed to change that. I knew it was, at this point, horrible for me. And I talked to my therapist often about that. And I said, I clearly can't figure this out, meaning the relationship.
You didn't say that. You said,
I did.
Not the relationship. Your text messages, clearly I can't figure this out. I feel so lost right now.
What I was saying to him is
Miss
clearly
Heard,
I can't
Miss
figure
Heard,
this out.
Miss Heard,
as in
that's
the
not my question.
relationship.
The text. Just the text.
That's exactly what I was saying.
What you texted. Clearly, I can't figure this out. I feel so lost right now.
That's what
right.
I was saying.
Okay. Sir, do you contend that there's another incident of abuse in March of 2015 after you and Mr. Depp returned from Australia? Is that correct?
That's correct.
And this incident took place on March 23rd, 2015?
That's correct.
And this supposedly occurred in the penthouse at the Eastern Columbia building?
That's correct.
You had found text messages between Mr. Depp and another woman, right?
That is correct.
So you confronted him about cheating on you?
That's correct.
And this was about 2 weeks after you had returned from Australia?
That's correct.
So this is shortly after Mr. Depp supposedly sexually assaulted you with a bottle, right?
It was 2 weeks after he assaulted me, yes.
And you decided to confront him about cheating on you?
I didn't decide to. I wanted to.
Mr. Depp's finger was freshly injured at this point, right?
He had a cast on it.
The top of his right finger had been cut off 2 weeks prior.
That is correct.
And he had a pin in his finger, true?
I don't recall when the pin was placed.
A skin graft?
I'm not quite sure. He had several different procedures, and they were kind of spread out over a period of time, so I don't remember what happened and when
One of those
exactly.
procedures was to treat the MRSA that got on his finger too, right?
At some point, I knew he had an infection.
And his right hand was in a bandage, right?
It was casted.
So it's your testimony that Mr. Depp was able to attack both you and your sister with his hand in that state, right?
That is correct. He had a hard plaster cast on it.
Debbie Lloyd was present in the penthouses when Mr. Depp supposedly attacked you. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
In fact, you claim that Mr. Depp threw a Red Bull can at Miss Lloyd that evening.
Yes, that's correct.
And you put in a sworn statement to that effect in the UK case, right?
That is correct.
But that's not true, is it?
That's what happened.
You know what a deposition is, right, Ms. Heard?
I've had several, yes.
Yeah, so you know it's when someone provides testimony under oath.
That is correct.
You're aware that Ms. Lloyd was deposed in connection with this case, correct?
That is true.
And Ms. Lloyd's deposition testimony was played earlier in this trial, right?
I'm going to object, Your Honor. May we approach?
All right.
So you heard Ms. Lloyd testify under oath that Mr. Depp never threw a can of Red Bull at her.
I can't remember if she didn't recall that or if she said it didn't happen. I don't remember.
So it's your testimony that Ms. Lloyd would forget that Mr. Depp, a very famous patient of hers, threw a can of Red Bull that nearly missed her, according to your version of events?
To be fair, I just don't remember if she said when she testified that she didn't recall that incident or if it didn't happen. I don't remember what she testified to. But I have a vague sense that she didn't recall much at all.
She recalled, and she testified in this courtroom, that Mr. Depp never threw a can of Red Bull at her. That was her testimony, wasn't it?
I don't recall what her testimony was with regards to that one incident, no.
You actually filed a complaint against Ms. Lloyd's nursing license right before she was supposedly deposed in this case, didn't you?
No, I don't believe I did.
Are you aware that someone filed a complaint against Ms. Lloyd's nursing license in connection with her care of Mr. Depp for failing to report abuse?
No, I had no idea. You're the first person to let me know about that.
It's your testimony under oath, that wasn't you?
That is my testimony. I didn't even know about that until now.
Travis McGivern was also present when Mr. Depp supposedly attacked you, correct?
He walked in at some point.
And you heard his testimony that it was actually you who punched Mr. Depp. Isn't that right?
It's always been my own testimony that I hit Johnny.
And you who was throwing things at Mr. Depp.
I hit him in defense of my sister. I didn't have anything to throw at him. I never threw anything at him. I hit him when he attacked me and my sister, specifically when he moved for her. That's when I hit him.
So it's your testimony under oath. You threw nothing at Mr. Depp. Mr. McGivern's lying.
I have thrown things at Johnny,
No,
to be clear, but not that occasion.
That evening.
Not on that occasion.
So it's your testimony, Mr. McGivern imagined that you were throwing things at Mr. Depp from the mezzanine level down towards where Mr. Depp and Mr. McGivern were standing.
Well, he certainly wasn't going to say it about his client.
Ms. Heard, you and Mr. Depp kept a journal together, didn't you?
Yes, we did.
You wrote each other messages in that journal, right?
That is true.
I'm only going to be showing you certain portions of this, so if we could please call this Plaintiff's Exhibit 91A. This is the journal that you and Mr. Depp kept with each other in electronic form, correct?
That is correct.
And if we could scroll through, these are all entries that you made in the journal, correct?
Is it done?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
This is a picture that's on the inside cover of the Love notebook, correct?
That's correct.
And this is a picture of you and Mr. Depp?
That's correct.
And you're in Australia in this picture, aren't you?
Yes, but that's much later once we returned.
You can see that Mr. Depp's right hand is bandaged, right?
Yes, that's correct. That was after it had recovered significantly. That's not what it looked like during the incident we were just talking about.
So this is a picture after the events in Australia in March of 2015, correct?
Yeah, yes, that photograph was taken months later.
Let's now turn to page 3. This is a note you wrote in the journal to Mr. Depp, correct?
That's what it looks like, yes.
This is actually the first note you wrote to him in this journal.
I don't remember what the first note was.
The date on this note is May 22nd, 2015, correct?
That is correct. That was during our honeymoon period.
This is just a little bit over 2 months after the events in Australia in March of 2015, right?
That's correct. We were back in a honeymoon phase. That was the period of sobriety I spoke about yesterday.
After Mr. Depp had allegedly assaulted you with a bottle, right?
It was after the stairs and it was after the Australia incident, yes. And he got clean and sober and we went back to Australia.
It's also 2 months after you punched Mr. Depp because you allegedly thought he was going to throw your sister down the stairs, right?
I hit him when he swung at my sister. And this is written months later, yes.
You thought he was going to throw your sister down the stairs like he had thrown Kate Moss down the stairs, right?
He swung at Whitney, and I had heard a vague rumor about that. And so it's what I thought of.
In this first message to Mr. Depp in your journal, you write, quote, "True love isn't about just the madness of passion or instead picking the safety of peace. No, it's about having both, falling madly in love with your friend. That is what has surprised me perhaps the most, that I have seen in you the true bones of friendship and respect. But of course, I still, perhaps more than ever, want to rip you apart, devour you, and savor the taste. Fret not. XX Slim.
Yes, it's a love note.
Did I read that correctly?
Yes, you did.
And you're Slim, right?
That's correct.
Mr. I'm now going to ask you to take a look at the very last entry you wrote in this journal, which seems to be from April 8th. That would be April 8th, 2016, correct?
I'm not quite sure. I don't see the year written on there, and I don't recognize it yet.
It would be a couple weeks. April 8th would be a couple weeks before your birthday, though, right?
That's correct.
Just to confirm, this is a note you wrote to Mr. Depp, right?
That's what it looks like, yes.
And on the second page of this note, you wrote the following, quote, I'm sorry I can get crazy. I'm sorry I hurt you. Like you, I can get wicked when I am hurt, when I feel provoked, shattered. And last night I was. I felt abandoned about the Lily Rose thing, felt absolutely bewildered about your not coming home on my last night here, and was heartbroken and angry after many attempts in vain on my part to rectify the situation and make amends on the last night of what was otherwise a gorgeous trip with you. I'm so sorry for my part. None of this is meant to be an excuse for hurting you, because the truth is, nothing is. There is never a reason good enough to hurt you. You are the last thing in the whole world who deserves it. Last person I ever meant to hurt. I love you, Steve. I am forever yours, Slim. Did I read that correctly?
That's correct.
This is a picture of you with what appears to be straight red marks on your arms, correct?
Those are scars from the broken glass.
And they're straight and red, right?
I disagree with how you characterize that, but they are red, yes.
And they're on your left arm?
Yes, that's correct.
Mr. You have a history of cutting yourself, don't you?
I do not.
You cut your arm once as a teenager, isn't that right?
No, I said I wanted to. When I was put on birth control pills when I was a teenager, I felt crazy, and I said I felt suicidal.
Since your testimony under oath that you didn't report to Dr. Hughes, your retained psychologist, that you had cut yourself as a teenager once?
I said I had told my mom that I wanted to when I was a teenager.